What's happening? Is it moving now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm presenting electrically controlled liquid crystal elastomer coating. So liquid crystal elastomers is equivalent to liquid crystal rubber. That means the orientation order of liquid crystal connected with rubber-like elasticity. Liquid crystal is a fluid made of elongated aligned organic molecules, like in this picture. And the average direction of the long molecular axis is called direct, presented by N cap. If we polymerize it, it make a network. It's make a liquid crystal elastomer. It's rubber made of liquid crystal and molecules are connected. This network is possible if we consider liquid crystal molecule that has a polymerizable group. It can be on the both end of the molecule or at the one end. Now, if you have liquid crystal elastomer and if we heat it, so upon heating, the along the director actually, it's actually shrink, and also perpendicular to the director, it's expand. So it's produced like a artificial muscle-like effect. To be noted here in this polymer network, here molecules are connected at both ends. But if we have a polymerizable group at one end, so it can attach with this network and one other end can hang. So if we cool this from the high temperature region, then it can actually restore itself to the initial state. So liquid crystal elastomer are stimuli responsive material. Like heat, as I explained in previous slide, it can respond to light, magnetic field, and electric field, etc. It shows reversible safe response. So in this presentation, I'll be focusing on electrically actuated liquid crystal elastomer coating. So for that liquid crystal elastomer, we have monoacrylates and diacrylates. So upon polymerization of monoacrylate liquid crystal monomers, so it make a chain, and diacrylate liquid crystal monomers actually cross-link. So finally, it make a network. To study the liquid crystal actuation under AC electric field, so we consider interdigitated electrode substrate. So electrode with is 5 micron and spacing 5 micron. We coat this substrate with aligning polymer, like a polymer, that align liquid crystal monomers perpendicular to the substrate. Now, we consider the mixture of monoacrylate and diacrylate liquid crystal monomers and dissolve in a solvent like a dichloromethane and make a uniform mixture. And we add actually some initiator. It can be photoinitiator or thermal initiator to polymerize. For our case, we consider photoinitiator. So finally, we coat that solution containing liquid crystal monomers and photoinitiator on top of this substrate. And we polymerize it using a light, basically below ultraviolet, ultraviolet light. And finally, we have a coating of liquid crystal monomer solution on the substrate. We heat it to actually evaporate the residual solvent left during polymerization. We have finally liquid crystal elastomer coating on the substrate, IDE substrate, interdigitated electrode substrate. We measure the thickness for our coating is about 2 micron. We would like to study the effect of in-plane AC electric field on our elastomer coating. Here's the picture. This is surface topography acquired by digital holographic microscope. So in this picture, the valley region, inter-electrode region, and the peak region, like brown color, brown red, is actually electrode region. The sample is at 50 degrees Celsius, and we do not apply any voltage on it. If we take a line profile, then we see peak and valley in this picture, and there is a change in G height from minima to maximum position about 130 nanometer. Now, if we apply AC voltage at 1 kilohertz frequency and magnitude of voltage 8 volt, we see from the surface profile as well as from the line profile, we see that the G height, the topography height in the inter-electrode region increases. We saw about 180 nanometer of G height change. We take the electric field off, it's restored itself. The actuation of liquid crystal elastomer by AC electric field is a strong function of field magnitude U, frequency F, and temperature. So here's the mechanism of liquid crystal elastomer response to AC electric field. I present the interdilated electrode substrate, and this is an approximate electrical distribution in it. Here's the picture of liquid crystal elastomer coating on interdilated electrode substrate. We see that on the electrode region, we have flat, and follow the topography of the interdilated electrode substrate. That's why we have a valley. And this actually ticks here represent the liquid crystal mesogens. Basically, those are dipolar. It has a dipole moment. Now, if we apply electric field, so the dipole moment actually interact with the electric field, and the electric field imposes oscillatory torque. So it's trying to vibrate. That's governed by this equation. Also, dipole want to actually realign with the applied electric field. So the vibration of molecular dipoles and their realignment with the electric field generate free volume in the system. So as a result, following this electric field distribution, so liquid crystal elastomer expand in the inter-electrode region. The dynamical mechanical analysis shows that the glass transition temperature of our elastomer is 51.5 degrees Celsius. We also know that liquid crystal elastomer responds to temperature. So before applying any electric field, we studied temperature dependency on our liquid crystal elastomer code. So we saw that in the temperature range of 20 to 100 degrees Celsius, there is a 18 nanometer of surface topography change, like G height of the elastomer due to heating. Now, if we apply electric field and do temperature variation at various frequency, we see that the response of liquid crystal elastomer increases with the temperature and take a peak, then goes down with further increase in temperature. These peaks actually corresponds to the glass transition temperature we observe via dynamical mechanical analysis. Interesting feature in this plot is the frequency response. If we see near to the glass transition temperature, 50 degrees Celsius, the response in lower frequency, like 1 kilohertz, is higher than response at higher frequency, like 1 megahertz. To understand this, we did further analysis like a frequency response of AC electric. So here is the plot. We see that the topography height changes in the frequency range from 10 hertz to 1 megahertz. We see there is an appearance of peaks in the low frequency regime that is below 1 kilohertz. And also there is presence of another peaks in the high frequency regime. Boyer group explored the frequency dependency on LCE actuation and observed one peak that is above 100 kilohertz. But our result shows that we have another peak that is below 2 kilohertz in the frequency response. So there is a, in our liquid crystal elastomer system, we have dipolar mesogens, as I mentioned, that interact with the AC electric field. So if the dipole moment, if we apply the field E along this direction, and the molecule has a dipole moment P, and it's tilted a little bit angle, so it shows actually two components of dipole moment, the longitudinal PL and transverse dipole moment PT. There is a two mode possible in our frequency regime, in our measurement. Mode 1, that is the PT, the transverse component, actually can rotate around long molecular axis.
10 minutes has passed.
And this gives actually perpendicular component of relaxation time. Another one, the molecule actually PL reorient with the field, gives the relaxation time tau parallel. So perpendicular
Sanjoy.
I have
10
one more
minutes.
slide.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So tau perpendicular less than tau parallel. That is because smaller moment of inertia involved. So we did frequency dependent studies using impedance measurement as a function of frequency and temperature. And we saw that there is a presence of two relaxation time, tau perpendicular and tau parallel. And we actually associate the low frequency peaks in the frequency response related to the tau parallel and high frequency response to tau perpendicular. In the field dependence, we see that with increase of field, the response actually goes up and saturate. The saturation can be explained with like dipolar mesogen realignment with the field. And all mesogen actually realign with the field, and excess free volume generation is not possible. So in conclusion, liquid crystal elastomer are actually responsive to the in-plane AC electric field. And we saw two peaks in the frequency response associated to tau perpendicular and tau parallel, and it's maximized at the glass transition temperature. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Time for a few questions.
I have a naive questions about liquid crystals. So I kind of from the picture you showed, it looked like you are doing polymerization in the pneumatic phase, right?
Yes.
And then,
yes.
So is it essential for the whole thing, and how many defects you get by this polymerization?
You mean defects?
Yeah, so it is basically, do you preserve this pneumatic orientation when you do polymerization, or it somehow changes?
Yeah, we actually try to preserve the orientation of molecule. Like as I mentioned in the coating process, we coat polymer like a polyimide that helps to align liquid crystal molecules perpendicular to the substrate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then thank you.
Okay, if there are no further questions, thank you very much for this nice talk.
Thank you.